Hello and welcome to Team 3's presentation on the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. I am Brian Bell and I will be narrating on behalf of my teammates Andy, Farid, Jill, Maday, and Tyler. The Pareto principle was first brought forth by Vilfredo Pareto in 1906 after he observed that most of Italy's wealth was distributed among what he called the vital few. The economic principle based on this observation was named after Pareto and has been applied in business to productivity and output. In essence, 80% of the output is generated by 20% of the workforce. Another way to apply this would be that most of the problems, roughly 80%, are linked to a smaller number of causes, roughly 20%. So by focusing your attention on these fewer causes, you are solving most of your issues. The 80-20 figures are not exact, however. These numbers can and will vary depending on the application and do not necessarily always add up to 100%. The main point is to allocate your resources effectively and efficiently. The focus should be on greater output. So if 20% of your employees will produce 80% of the work, the focus should be placed on rewarding them. As we will see in this presentation, the Pareto principle has been applied to many fields, including economics, business, and healthcare. Pareto's theory is an important economic principle and has many interesting applications within the greater discipline. The principle can be applied to many decision-making processes. As previously stated, about 80% of the issues faced in a business can be attributed to 20% of the processes. So by focusing your attention on these causes, you are solving the majority of issues. Pareto's original observation on wealth was surprisingly insightful. Not only was the wealth in Italy distributed almost exactly along the 80-20 lines, the world's wealth is not much different, distributed at an estimated 82.7% of the wealth held by the top 20% of the wealthy. Most health insurance companies have what is internally called the 80-20 medical policy. This means the company pays 80% of the medical bill and the patient pays 20%. About 80% of the United States population that has health insurance have it through their work or spouse, and only 20% pay out of pocket. Out of all the people with health care, the health care cost is generally about 20% of their annual income. Medicare is also based off of an 80-20 policy. Medicare pays approximately 80% of the bill and the patient owes 20%. Most Medicare payments are for individuals in fair to poor health, which consists of 80% of the people on Medicare, while most of the population, about 80%, are in moderate to good health and do not use Medicare services regularly. The Pareto principle and the 80-20 rule are also known as the law of the vital few with regards to sales. We will see why it has been called the law of the vital few from the results produced by the company. It is commonly known that 20% of the people working for a company make up for 80% of its results. Conversely, the remaining 80% of the workers only account for 20% of the results. The money from sales brought in by clients also follows the same principle. 80% of the sales come from approximately 20% of the clients, and the remaining 20% of the sales come from 80% of the clients. This relationship shows the importance of keeping long-term clients happy and customer relations as high as possible. However, it is equally important to note that bringing in new customers should not be underestimated because one big client can leave at any time, and if your business only caters to the few, then new customers are harder to come by and business can be in jeopardy if only a couple of your big clients are to leave. After all this, we ask, why is the Pareto principle important? How can I use it to my advantage in the business place? Here we see that using this knowledge along with these major categories will bring about more business and better efficiency. It begins with hiring the right people. Although most people fall into the 80% of workers that will only produce 20% of the work, it becomes vital to have a good screening process. It is usually hard to find the great workers, but a good practice is to find someone who has the potential to become a star employee that will produce the 80% of the work. Having the right practices to keep old clients returning and good techniques to bring in new customers and keep them as returning customers will produce bigger sales. Now a quick look at our works cited, and thank you for listening to our presentation.